Welcome to Work the Left Side. I'm hyper hyped to announce tonight's guest. I'm joined by Evan Knite. Sir, how are we doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Mate, I'm all good. 5 by 5. Too blessed to be stressed. As the saying goes. So, but dude, yeah, thank you obviously for coming on and talking to me about this wonderful world of wrestling and obviously your journey so far. Obviously I kind of keep an eye on different promotions close by and around, but obviously as well, people that I have on the show, I look into their stuff, I watch their matches, and then I see other people, I'm like, oh shit, that dude looks awesome. Obviously we had Seb on previously, we've had Hamza on, so when I've been watching a lot of their stuff, obviously, I've seen a lot of your stuff as well. So I've always kind of wanted to be like, I need to get him on the show. And then I was like, right, let's do it. So yeah, there we go. Generic question out of the way, first of all, and then we'll let it flow. What made you get into wrestling in the first place?
So I'll never get tired of saying this, but it was through my older brother. So I used to watch wrestling with him all the time. Like when 2017 time, we both got back into watching wrestling through some of his mates. And then COVID happened and all that, and he kind of stopped whilst I carried on watching. And then I just kind of went to my dad after COVID. I was just a bit like, yeah, I kind of want to try wrestling. And when we found a place for me to train, and I went there. But it's crazy to think that's nearly 4 years ago now.
Wow, dude. Was it UKW from day one, or was there a few other places?
Yeah. So it was my dad that looked around, and UKW was the closest place to us. So it was like, oh, okay, cool, we'll go there. And then we went there, obviously, throughout. And so I've started at UKW and then done about 3 years there, still on some of their shows. And then I've moved over to training mainly at PPW, Evo Academy, and Rampage training.
Dude. Oh. Wow.
3, yeah.
Not to besmirch UKW. I mean, UKW does what UKW does. It's it's a good foundation, but I mean that shit is freaking Evo. Obviously, very much BWR's home school.
Yes.
Sort of Scotty, Rawk, guys like that. Robbie, just obviously, Nathan Cruz, Matt Myers. I don't know how heavily everybody's involved, but I know they'll all be in and around the picture. Yeah. Obviously, PPW, anybody who knows this channel has heard me talk for more than 5 minutes, knows of my love and appreciation for, PPW. And you just say Rampage Brown, mate. And that is, he is my favorite ever British wrestler. So if you can learn anything from him, mate, that is just...
Definitely, yeah. So it's great learning. So for Evo, you mentioned all the names. I'm mainly trained by Scotty Rawk. So he's been my main trainer for being at Evo, and he's so good. He's very, very underrated, I think. But yeah, Scotty's great. Liam at PPW, I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said already. He's helped so many people, me being one of them, just level up everything that we do in ring. And then Rampage. It's the same with Liam. I don't know what else I can say about Rampage that hasn't been said before for training. I know you've had Seb Mercer on as well. Yeah. And so we travel and train quite a lot together. And so he's probably said everything I could say about Rampage. So
I think many people have. I think, going way back to near the start of Work the Left Side, I had Molly Spartan on, and she basically called Rampage the Obi-Wan of British wrestling. It's just like, I can't. I've stuck by that quote to this day. And obviously, if you're a Star Wars fan, you get it. If you're not, it goes straight over your head. But if you know what I'm talking about, then he's like the Obi-Wan of freaking British wrestling. All you've got to say is, "Oh, I'm trained by Rampage," and it's like, sweet, right? That's it. Just that line alone gives you so much credibility. It's like, yeah, sweet, there we go.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, when you say you kind of got into it then in 2017, was it? I'm trying to backtrack. Was it like obviously WWE at that point? AEW.
Well, AEW wasn't a thing, so it was just after they'd reintroduced the brand split. So it's like 2016, 2017, around the time AJ Styles came in. That's a big inspiration for me, AJ Styles. So around the time he came in, and then I was watching that, and then I just started being like, I think the typical wrestling fan of typing in on YouTube full wrestling matches because you couldn't really see much of WWE. And so I saw, I think one of the main bits was WCPW.
Yes.
As well. So I watched a bit of them. And sadly for me, at like the end of their run as WCPW into Defiant, I think it was. So that then ended quite soon after I started watching. So I was a bit disappointed by that, but I kept on WWE for ages.
But at least you was aware that there was a British scene. Because half the people I speak to, obviously, like, they got into wrestling, they're watching WWE or AEW or TNA, stuff like that. And then they sort of like, they Google the school to see if they can even learn this kind of thing, in England. And they're like, oh, shit, there's a massive thriving independent scene over here that I did not even know about.
Definitely, yeah.
So, but yeah, like I say, WCPW, all good. AJ Styles, massive. I'm always going to mark out for AJ. Obviously, I've got a few years on you, man. I started watching TNA because he was in it back in the day, kind of thing. The original AJ Styles versus Chris Daniels or Abyss, all that kind of sort of stuff blows my mind. You mentioned there about YouTube, typing in full wrestling matches. Another way I can always tell a wrestling fan is because only wrestling fans know or have heard of Daily Motion.
Yes.
Outside of YouTube, the only use of Daily Motion is for wrestling access, as far as I'm concerned. Because when we're back in the day, hopefully I've got a different job now, so I won't get in trouble for this. But if on a quiet day at work, you couldn't use YouTube because it had obviously been filtered out and everything like that. But apparently the IT geeks weren't aware of Daily Motion, so I could sit there all day at work watching wrestling matches.
Oh, sounds great.
Just like, yep. Hello, yep. Turn it off, turn it back on again. Right, so right, watch it. So obviously, you mentioned the AJ thing. I watched I've just started doing something new for future guests, which is that little kind of like 40-45 seconds real clip of some of your matches, just to say, "I'll come in soon." So if people don't know who you are, at least they can have a quick look, see what you look like, what you like in the ring. And obviously I watched the Super Pro match with yourself, young Horace, and Uther.
Yes.
That's where a few of those clips came from. And as soon as you came out, man, you grabbed that mic and you kind of had that presence. You just started being the arrogant, just cocky, just narcissistic, but you're like, I know you all want to cheer for me kind of thing. But just having that mic work, that ability to do that, mate, that's awesome, because not everybody has that, so early on kind of thing, or even after a few years, they still don't have that confidence.
Yeah, I think a big bit of it for me is I also do like dance and musical theatre and like drama and stuff like that. So I think some part of that is, it's very, very interlinked for how stuff I don't want to say naturally, but how like some mic stuff naturally comes to me instead of it being like, oh, I need to hit these points. I feel as though I can flow it a bit nicer.
Yeah. You're not going to be, it's not as daunting having all those eyes on you kind of thing. You know, you expect people to look at you and then kind of hang on what you're going to say or hang on every word kind of. So, you know, if you've got that theatre background, yeah, performing, you know, the speaking part of it all will come a bit more naturally to you. Like I say, it's not going to be 100% natural. It's not going to be perfect, but you started off probably a few steps above other people.
Yeah, definitely. I think.
Mate, that's just. But yeah, I just like to say that kind of just jumped out at me sort of straight away. I was just kind of like, well, you know, this it's just coming out here. He's got the audience hanging on his every word. He had everybody was looking at you, and you just set the bar. You know, it's just kind of like that. This guy's obviously, you know, the out and out heel. This is a cocky guy that we don't want to like. You know, we kind of want to punch him in the face. Boom, you've set that precedent. You've let the fans know, boo me. Just, you know, boo your hearts out all you want.
Yeah, it's a great. I think I like getting boos a bit more than I like getting cheered because it feels not natural, but it feels like the crowd really interact with me instead of being like, oh well, we don't like this guy, so we'll cheer the other guy. It's more, batter him for me, please. I just shut him up. And I think I like that aspect and being able to talk just to annoy everyone. And well, going back to Seb, like we travel a lot together, and he's said to me multiple times that I've got quite a punchable face. So so I think that translating helps a bit as well.
Yep, that's it's not going to hurt if you're a heel, and that's what I got from that match as well. Kind of thing. It's not like, you know, sometimes a heel can get booed because, you know, the good guy is so loved that anybody he goes up against will automatically get the heat kind of thing. Whereas with yourself, I think no matter who you're against, they're automatically going to get the cheers because you generate that kind of anti-heat. You know, that's you make the face more popular because you're so good at, you know, you're just that heelish kind of thing, or that gnarly. So yeah, it works. That's what I was going to say.
Thank you.
But obviously as well, you know, we're talking Super Pro. So, you know, I've just watched I enjoyed this one. I always love it when people go up against Ian Creed because it's such a unique kind of character. Yes. I'm always a bit like, but yeah, how did you kind of find that? And, you know, is the ear thing as bad as, you know, as I imagine, or is it just, does he play it safe and just kind of tickle the inside?
No. It's as bad as you think. Yeah. And it was an interesting match. Having been reacting to everything Creed does is very fun but daunting because you're like, it, like you say, is such a unique character and a unique person that you I don't know how the right words to say it, but yeah, you just, everything that you do reflects on him, and then his character just comes through so much better, and I loved it. It was my debut for FCB as well, so that was also a fun night for me.
How did you find it? Because obviously, you know, I know a lot of the people involved at FCP. I think it's great. I love what they do. Obviously, the main event in that show was Sammy Blue versus Isaac North. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on that show, more than normal, I would think, because Isaac has got his fan base. So it's a very cool show for you to make a debut. But yeah, the venue and everything about it it's again, you know, like I said about Ian, it's very unique.
Yes, definitely. It's I've worked quite a few, not strange but unique venues, and so FCB was very cool because it's got the stage, and then the all the presentation with the ring at the front and everyone. I've really enjoyed it. It's very, very unique, and I'd love to be back, basically.
I don't see why you wouldn't be. The thing is, they know who they want to use. They know who they like. If they've called you in, and used you on a show, it'll be for a reason. I don't want to speak for Jeps, but if they've used you once, and I think and you get that reaction, mate. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next show or the show after that. It depends how they rotate people, I guess. But yeah, I expect to see you on there more regularly. Also, I think that's the thing.
Thank you.
But yeah, we've mentioned. So that's a lot of traveling though. Just you mentioned because obviously I'm guessing if UKW is the closest. I'm in Leeds, so I'm guessing you're kind of nearby. If UKW is the closest to you when you first started.
No, so where I live, I'm not. Just for privacy reasons, I'm not going to say.
No.
Where I live, basically anywhere for me for training is about between 45 minutes to an hour.
Right. Okay.
So UKW was because for me it's like I'm over here. UKW's like there, PPW's down there, and so either way it's about 45 minutes to an hour drive, and so I think the travel for me, it's not too bad. I'm getting used to being in longer car journeys to go and train. It's just the fuel.
Yeah.
But
yeah, things for me to make the journeys with though. Like sort of Seb's an awesome kind of guy. It can't be that bad.
Yes. So Seb, we started at UKW together. We mainly, when we travel together, it's mainly to and from Rampage because that's such a long journey that I think just as one person driving, I've done it before, it gets quite just repetitive and boring. Yeah. So yeah, definitely traveling with Seb is much better, and Joe Sedgwick as well. That's who us three are the three that mainly go up to Rampage from UKW.
That's crazy because I was talking to him earlier today. I've just sorted out a date for him to come on and talk as well. So he will be here on the 2nd of July. So that's awesome. So I've got that connection. I've got that to talk about as well then straight away. But mate, that's because I was going to say like obviously no matter depending on where you are, obviously I know. My geography is shit. I want to say Evo is round back sort of Grimsby way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Grimsby.
Grimsby, that's it. And also, but I know that's about. Again, I'm basing it from where I am. It's about an hour and a half down. Newcastle's like 2-ish hours up.
Yeah.
So if you're going if you're triangulating kind of thing, then dude, I was going to say that Newcastle one's going to be Ball Lake, but it's very old school. If you're anything like me, you read the autobiographies or you watch wrestling documentaries, one of the key things they always talk about is the car journeys. Traveling on the road, stories, picking each other's brains.
Yeah. So our car journeys, we're not. I don't think we're as interesting as the old school like stories and stuff like that. All I'll say is that me and Joe, we tend to annoy Mercer for most of it. That's it. We get a bit too hyped up and we just talk at him, and Mercer's just sat there driving and he's like, God, can you just shut up?
That's awesome. But again though, it's just who picks the music? Is it literally driver's musical choice or does anyone get a say?
It's mainly Joe. What it is it's Mercer goes, I'm listening to my music, and then Joe kind of goes, no, you're not. We're listening to my music. And that's kind of how it goes.
Because again, that's something else always amuses me. Like, when I speak to various people, if I know they're going on long trips, so I was like, what's the playlist? What do people listen to? Ever since it was, I think Tim Strange was on about him and Lou Nixon. Just sat in the car listening to Miley Cyrus. My head just went, what? Big Tim Strange and Big Lou just sat in the car, just singing along to Miley Cyrus. I was like, what the? fuck is going on? So yeah, it always kind of amuses me now what people listen to.
Mercer likes his like folk music, like country folk music, I think it is. Joe, I don't know. Joe's music taste varies very much, so I can't really specify one artist.
I'll ask him when he comes on.
And mine is a bit like Joe's. It's just very varied. My playlist is such a mix of different things that it can be like really white girl music to then proper rap type. And I'm like, and even I've played it with my parents before in my car, and they've gone, this is such a change. It's gone from up here to like over here. What are you doing? So yeah, I think that's my music taste.
Nice, dude. I salute that, because I'm a massive. I've got. It took me years to figure it out. When I was like younger, I was very much like metal, hip hop. That was it. If it wasn't those two genres, I wasn't listening to it. Damn it, that's all I'm going to listen to. As you get older, it's just kind of like, what, good music is good music. I don't care what genre it is. I'll listen to pop. I'll listen to country. I'll listen to classical. I'll listen to metal. I'll listen to hip hop. I'll listen to dance. I'll listen to pop. 90s cheese, 80s cheese. All is welcome. As long as it puts a smile on my face, it's all good.
Definitely.
So, did you, I know you kind of acknowledged it, but I posted earlier, on Facebook about you coming on tonight and us chatting. Mr. I'm going to kayfabe it here, obviously, and say, Sean Only commented on the post sort of saying, oh, awesome talent, great future. So yeah, you had an acknowledgement or a shout out by Sean Only, bigging you up.
Yeah. Although I appreciate most people that say stuff like that, because I've had Adam Bolt as well. He's helped me quite a bit with. So I come up to the Left Bank lead shows with him, and then help out at the True Grit shows. And so any feedback for me and appreciation of like public posting is just, I love it. It's great.
Mutual appreciation, man. It just goes to show though that you are obviously doing something right. You're ticking all the boxes. People are taking notice. People know who you are. I was going to ask, obviously, because Sean had put that. I was like, have you trained at the temple or anything like that kind of thing? But obviously it'll probably be, he's obviously met you through True Grit at Left Bank and stuff like that. So he's got to know you from that. But yeah, it just put a smile on my face, because it's always nice, when somebody, like I said, just bigs you up, acknowledges you, and sort of says, yeah, man, I like this guy, I like his work. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, basically.
Definitely, yeah.
But Adam Bolt, though, it is, mate, you're just throwing names at me at the minute, and I'm just like, we had Scotty, Rawk, we've had Rampage, Liam Slater, everybody at PPW. Adam Bolt is another guy who I have nothing but love and respect for. I get excited when he's in the ring. I know he's going to, like, what he's doing at True Grit is amazing. What he's doing up at Wrestling in Newcastle, everywhere, where he works, the dude just cannot have a bad match. Every time I see him, I'm just like, mate, that was amazing. He's just mid-90s Shawn Michaels to me.
Yeah, no, Adam's great. He's helped me with getting out there for more shows. So I've been up to Win with him, and then obviously the True Grit shows. So I think he's helping me with contacting some bookers and stuff like that as well. Just, yeah, like you say, nothing bad I can say about him. He's just great.
That's another thing though. So again, if you're outside, obviously I know this because people tell me about it. I'm on the other side of the curtain, but I've had so many people talking to me about it now. Is like you just sort of said, it's getting to shows. One of the major things, in your wrestling journey when you're starting off, or even 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the line is networking. It's getting to shows, it's getting people to see your face, getting people to get to know you, shaking hands and introducing yourself and just getting yourself out there. It's crazy how sort of important that is.
Yeah. It's really important from what I'm learning now, because before I did think, it'd just be a booker would get in contact and stuff like that, or if I posted enough, then so and so will see, and then that's how I get. And then doing stuff like networking, the seminars at PPW as well, they're really good just for getting people to see what I can do and meeting great wrestlers. So some of the notable ones, Michael Oku's, his seminar, the Spud Secret seminar.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Was so good.
Yeah.
We've recently had a Jim Smallman one as well, and just getting lots and lots of different opinions, and then also getting my name to be like noticed a bit more through bookers and through the seminar people and stuff like that is very it's very good. It's very daunting. I'm not I feel as though it doesn't, I don't think it shows in ring, but I feel as though I'm quite an introvert, and I'm not a huge fan of talking to like new people that often. And so I think it was the first True Grit show that I went to with Adam. It was the one that he won the Pride belt at, and I was there helping out, and Alfie was there as well, and we know each other through like UKW and PPW, and we went to speak to each other, and both of us were just kind of there like, yeah, there's lots of new people. This is very very daunting, but yeah, it's definitely an experience which I feel as though I'm getting better at. But at the beginning, it was very like, oh my God, what is so many people?
Dude, I've said it so many times, and apologies if people have heard me say it before, but that is the one thing where I've always sort of said, if I ever did get into wrestling, that, back in the day, that would have been my major hurdle. I have just got like zero confidence. I'm like crazy shy. Obviously, I do this, but I've got the protection of the screen kind of thing. I can sit here and talk. It's fine. You put me in a room with somebody, I'm like, I'm just going to go sit in the corner by myself because, why would anybody want to talk to me? I'm not even going to shake off. Why would I offer you my hand? You're just going to slap it away and laugh in my face. I'm just going to go sit over here. That would be it. I would be like, I would be blacklisted as the rude one who doesn't talk to anyone. Like, no, we're not booking them on these shows. My career would last like 2 weeks. No,
yeah, it's definitely something to overcome for being a wrestler, I think.
Well, man, like you sort of said, you said, you hope it doesn't show in the ring. Obviously, it doesn't, because, I was just bigging you up like 10 minutes ago about, that Super Pro match when you came out with the mic and, you was talking. So obviously I think you've got that ability of being able to flick the switch where, once, I don't know if it's the music, if you've got, if you're in gear, once you step between the ropes, but yeah, you're not an introvert when you're in the ring kind of thing. You have that ability to talk.
Thank you.
So yeah, but yeah, man, I respect that. Like, just it's crazy to me. I'm just like, that is amazing. But yeah, the whole True Grit thing, that's just, well, I've seen Gung Ho, with a crew shirt on. I've seen Sammy with a crew shirt on. Seb had a crew shirt on a couple of times. So I'm expecting Seb to turn up on a show at some point, hopefully, because I know that's how kind of like JC likes to do it as well. So obviously I'm not speaking for him again kind of thing, but I would like to sort of say, you see a lot of people running around ringside, helping out. They eventually get the kind of the reward and being like, let's do this.
Yeah. And
you are, definitely your style fits perfectly as well kind of thing. They need good heels, along. They've got a few at the top end But I'd love to see like I don't know yourself and Billy. Just you've got that natural heelism where Billy can just be the face. It'll just work really well. Or you and Sammy kind of thing. I just think there's so many possibilities for you at True Grit. You and Seb, both of you make your debut at the same time. That'll do for me.
Yeah, that would be that's the hope. Fingers crossed. I'd love to be on True Grit. It's such a nice the venue that I've been at. So I've only been at the Leeds one, the Left Bank Leeds. That is such a nice venue that I think would be sick to just work in. Even if it is, I just come out, take like a clothesline. That's it. Just being there would be so cool.
Well, dude, try and talk yourself into the obviously, July. We've got Adam versus Tony Wright in a ladder match. I mean, anything goes on a ladder match, dude. You kind of want to come out, try and help Adam out. Yeah, he's to say.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the thing that Adam needs you and Jackie T. Like, yeah, that's it. I was having this conversation with somebody on the review show because obviously we review True Grit as well, kind of thing. And I was just kind of like, as much as I love Tony Wright and as much as I'm excited for the match, right, it's a ladder match. The dude's left himself wide open for Adam and Jackie and anybody else who wants to get involved just to come out and fucking do poor Tony over. So yeah, that's a problem that Tony might have to sort out. But obviously, we're talking about the awesomeness that is, you. We've talked FCP, PPW, obviously Super Pro. Anything coming up that you can tell us about, or is there just announcements to come soon?
So I've got for the moment that I can think about, I've got a UKW show coming this Saturday for me. It's their like yearly one from when they came back. So I think it's like 3 years now, 3-4 years. That's the 24th of May. I don't know when this will be going out. So so this Saturday coming, a UKW show. I'm going and helping out at the BWR Rumble show to just be there with ring crew and stuff like that. Yeah, because obviously Scotty and Evo have helped me through training and stuff, so I want to give back to them. I'm just trying to think of anything else. I've got a Super Pro show coming up in June, I think. I'll just check the date so I can get it right.
I should have looked. So I did have a quick look. I looked on Super Pro's, socials to sort of see if they had any show coming up or they announced anything. But
so yes, Friday the 13th of June, I've got a Super Show with Luke. Super Show versus Luca Brigante. Yeah, which I've got a stipulation for, but I'm going to be announcing that on the night. So a bit of a surprise for him. They're the ones I can think of off the top of my head that I can say about. So yeah,
that's awesome. Obviously, I'll keep my eyes peeled. Yes, obviously, the Friday the 13th one. I kind of keep seeing I've seen that poster so many times, like the horror film sort of Friday the 13th poster with. I've kind of forgotten who I've seen and who I've not seen on there, but yeah, obviously yourself. Because I saw it and I was like, obviously, I know Luca from PPW. He's somebody else as well who everybody seems to be love working with. He's very good at what he does. So I'm expecting you two guys to be like, stealing the show. I would say, not to discourage anyone else, but I think you two guys have got the ability to be like, let's just turn it up to 11 and do this.
Thank you.
But also, yeah, I mean, I'm presuming you and Luca know each other from PPWs. I'm presuming, he's there sometimes when you're there. I haven't just made an arse of myself and you'd be like, no, I've never met the guy.
No, we've met at PPW and through a couple of shows, through Super, through FCB, because he was there on Saturday as well. So yeah. Hopefully it'll be a good fun match.
Just wait to see what the stipulation is now. That's going to be the an interesting factor. But yeah, you mentioned obviously BWR. Mate, that promotion itself, just being again, we mentioned, working at True Grit, helping out, just getting yourself seen. Obviously, you don't have that issue at BWR. People know who you are because of Evo and stuff. But yeah, helping out, paying your dues, I suppose. People will say kind of thing. But just being involved in BWR it's a promotion that I'm desperate to get to. I've never got to a show yet. But my FastCount boys, they always kind of it's their hometown promotion.
I'll say.
So I say hometown, it's like they live in Doncaster, but for some reason they've adopted it as their hometown promotion. They always go to BWR. But that is it must be exciting being involved in that as well, because obviously they've leveled up recently. The last few shows have had a bigger attendance, a new venue.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen. So I've not been to one of their shows, but I've seen lots and lots of stuff through their Instagram and such, and it looks like such a nice venue that I'd love to wrestle in one day. It's like True Grit. I'd love to wrestle in it one day.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking, obviously, with you being at Eva, I imagine the electricity kind of, from BWR success, it kind of flowing back through. To you guys in training, being like, come on, this is kind of like. So I know Evo used to have their own. It used to be a little mini promotion, didn't it? They used to have their own shows and stuff. But yeah, you kind of got to that. I would have that mindset of being like, right, I'm here. In a year, 2 years, I am going to be there. I'm going to be, BWR. I'm going to be tearing up in this new location.
Yeah,
it makes it more exciting.
Definitely. I think as well, it makes. I'm not saying that I don't work hard in training, but it makes me work even harder to try and get noticed in training, to be like, oh, well, we could get him on for BWR. So yeah.
Dude, it's just exciting, mate. I just think you've got that much stuff, going on, or potentially you just kind of, like you've got the source of stuff going on, but you're literally just on the cusp of, like, the BWR stuff or the True Grit stuff, or wrestling in Newcastle, or things like that. And literally, I think in 6 months, 8 months, if I spoke to you again, we'd just be like, I'll be able to look at you and be like, fucking told you, mate. I knew you were going to turn up on these shows at some point. It's happened, kind of thing. So
yeah, here's to hoping. We hope very much for that.
It's the electricity, the excitement of it's this close, man. I'm telling you, it's this close. So, but we're talking at the minute, with your training and stuff. What I did obviously notice, I talked about it, with the Ian Creed match, the Super Pro match, when you had the microphone and you was working the audience, is psychology. Again, it's one of those things. I'm always amazed. I think some people get it, some people find it harder to get, or they'll get it eventually. But watching your matches, you've kind of got that. For me, from an outside perspective, it looks like you've got it down. But that must have been really hard. Was it hard to kind of grasp, I suppose, is what I'm asking? Get understanding the basics of, like, telling the story, because that's what the psychology is, isn't it?
So I'm not too sure of how hard it was to grasp for me, because I don't know if there's like a specific point in my matches and like training and stuff where I've seen an instant switch of, oh, it looks like I've got the psychology. I think a bit like with the promos, through my drama and through my dance and stuff, it gives me a bit like a tiny step above some other people. But I don't think there's a specific moment for me where I've gone, oh, I definitely get it. I think quite a bit of it is common sense of like, what would people in the crowd say, or what would the dad that doesn't want to be there, what would he then be like if he saw something that made no sense? So I think my mindset for that, plus with the drama, like, assists and like interlinks for that to come through.
Because again, I'm not speaking for anybody kind of thing, but as a fan, you pick up stuff up or you notice stuff. I think a lot of people, when they're starting off, again, people have told me this. So I know that one of the hardest things is slowing down sometimes, taking a second or 2 seconds between moments just to let it sink in, to let people acknowledge what's happened. But again, that's very much a drama thing. You probably get that because you're aware of how audience, or not aware of how audience are reacting, but what you're doing is to garner a reaction.
Yeah, people are completely right. Slowing down is so hard, and even for me, even for understanding that people need to react and have time to react to stuff. Even then, I'm sometimes still quite fast in everything I do. But I think it vaguely works. But then as I carry on training and get older, I will be able to slow down a bit more naturally.
Yeah. It's a weird environment though, because in the back of your head, again, I can only imagine, but in the back of my head, it's like, right, I've got 10 minutes for a match. There's an example. In the back of my head, I'm going to be like, right, I need to get as much shit in as possible. And just so people can see exactly what I can do. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. But then somebody's telling you, like, no, slow down, just do half of that. And it's like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. The less I do, people aren't going to get to see it. But it's like, no, in actual fact, I suppose that's the inner conflict. You want to get as much shit in as possible, but by doing so, you're diluting everything.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've noticed as I've wrestled more and more matches, you get a bit more grasp on how long specific times are and how you can fill out one bit with very little. Like you think that something goes for really short and you've actually gone like a minute and a half, 2 minutes off just like one small bit, and then you can carry that on throughout the match. So as you do more wrestling, as I found, I think it comes a bit more naturally of understanding how long specific times are.
Yeah, I suppose it's like an internal clock that you're working on, or you're building up this clock and you're able to judge it more.
Yeah.
With confidence and with time, because I suppose as well, as your confidence grows, you're not having to think about X, Y, and Z as much. You can kind of just focus on how long everything's taken, as opposed to thinking about what you're going to do next.
Yeah, definitely. I've found that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it blows my mind. Seriously, it's just like how much stuff goes into it. It's how layered it all is. It's crazy. I'd be amiss if I need to rewind a little bit, because I mentioned him near the start of so Hamza. I know you guys have had some matches, obviously, at UKW. Again, as with Seb, we love Hamza. Hamza's awesome. He's legitimately one of the nicest human beings, that I've had the pleasure of meeting. Man, what was it like working with him? Do you guys obviously work well together?
Yeah, so I think Hamza and Mo as well. We started around the same time. So like me, Mercer, Hamza and Mo all started within like a month of each other at UKW. And so we've trained together for so long now, as it doesn't feel that long, but when you think back and you're like, oh wow, that was like 4 years ago. We've trained together so often that some stuff just becomes very natural, I find. So yeah, Hamza, Mo, absolutely great guys.
Yeah, obviously not to forget about Mo. I was going to mention Mo as well, kind of thing, because again, same as with Hamza, generally just an awesome human being. Obviously, they've both been on here, and just love seeing NLG anywhere and everywhere at the minute. So that's good.
Definitely,
but, dude, you four guys, that's a click waiting to happen, man. That's sort of like, because that's all areas covered as well. You got your little angry Irish guy, who's just going to fight. You got Mo who can fight as well. Bloody hell, it'll kick your head off. And then there's you and Hamza as well, who would just work every possible angle. It's just, mate, that'd be an awesome little clip.
Be sick, yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Right, I'll be So obviously, what I'll talk about this. I've only really seen you. The matches I've seen you in have all just been, Evan Knite or just singles. Have you kind of ever thought about doing the tag thing? Is it something that's kind of jumped out? Are you a fan of tag team wrestling?
So I've got I think I've got quite an interesting thing about tag wrestling. For some of the companies I've worked for, I've not been a huge for one of the main companies I worked for, I wasn't a huge fan of tag wrestling because it seemed a lot like in storyline of why a tag team was formed, it was because someone couldn't do that well in singles. So they went, I'll get my buddy and then he can help me win some gold and stuff like that. So I wasn't a huge fan of it. And then at UKW, I started teaming with one of my best mates, Sketch. I don't know if you've see any of UKW. He's not on social media, so we can't tag him and stuff. But Sketch is my age. He's a very good, like, scrappy little babyface or heel. Because he's got the psychology part down to a T, I think. And so we teamed for 18 months, I think it was, about a year and a half. And that teaming with him made me go, I actually love tag team wrestling and I love teaming with him specifically. And then we went into a big storyline to have my title, where I lost my title at UKW, but just teaming with him, I think, was absolutely great. And then with my mindset on tag wrestling being changed from teaming with him, I then MVP, one of the other shows in Barnsley that's like linked to Super, New British Promotions. I'm in a stable with Callum Andrews. Yes. We're in a stable with Callum Andrews, a lad called Dan Domain and Kid Rothrock. We are called the Poison Panthers. And me and Callum have been talking about wanting to try and speak to the booker and trying to get me and Callum going as a tag team a bit, because through PPW, me and Callum, I think we've become good mates and want to try and push a tag team for like MVP going forward. So hopefully we need to speak to the booker, but yeah. So I think my mindset for tag team wrestling has changed definitely from when I first started.
Nice. Shout out to Callum as well. Again, somebody else I've had the pleasure of talking to. Awesome. I love Callum. Just his mind for it all, the way that his enthusiasm and just the passion he's got for wrestling is amazing. But yeah, if you two guys formed a team, that'd be very, very cool. I'd be well excited for that. I just think as well, it offers up that possibility. It just opens up another door. Like, say, now you found hopefully like an enthusiasm for a love for tag team. It just means you can do more stuff. It makes it more exciting, I think. You can kind of explore new options and be like, oh, you know what, we get to double team people. We get to do this, this, and this. We get to work on a double team move. Actually, it's legendary. You come up with a good double team move, mate, you've made it. People are going to pop just for that one move.
Definitely, yeah.
Ooh, no pressure, obviously, but
yes. Yeah, we're gonna have to start thinking of some stuff now.
But if you can find that one move, man, you've made it. You're gold. That'd be awesome. But it's just, we went back to obviously, we mentioned the Spud takeover session at PPW. Again, I'm of that age. I remember, Rockstar Spud back in 1PW, back in the original incarnation, him against Abyss, him against SJK, aka, Corey Graves. Then he went to TNA, became EC3's fucking whooping boy, 24/7 stuff in WWE. The dude has a little bit of wisdom to impart. I'm guessing you kind of just sat there and soaked it all up like a massive sponge.
Yes, definitely. It was such a good experience seeing his mindset from all his years of experience, seeing how he would approach certain situations, how he would avoid doing certain bits that make it look less realistic, stuff like that. And just seeing his mindset and his love of wrestling was so great. Like I think that session was very limited ring time. I think all I really did was a lockup and a headlock takeover with Hardman Dan, and that was it. And then the rest of the session was just speaking and learning and taking in information from him. And I'm not complaining. It was such a good session that I wasn't fussed. I took so much out of it that I hope and feel as though I've put into my work.
That's awesome. That's the thing as well. Sometimes it's not always just being in the ring, doing this, that, and the other. It's just listening to the stories, listening to them break something down and explaining the mechanics a little bit more. And obviously, like everybody sort of said, when you've got the shit covered, a lot of people I speak to sort of like, you need to train more than one place, or it's good to get different views, different opinions, and you sort of like, again, not everything's going to fit, but if you can take a little bit from here, a little bit from here, kind of merge it together, make it fit your logic, your mindset, kind of thing, then that's golden. But yeah, those Nathan Cruz is another one that I've heard people talk about in the same manner. It's good to get in the ring, but just listening to Nathan talk. I don't know how involved he is down at Evo, kind of thing, or if was at the PPW session when Nathan was there. But again, he's another brain that you could just listen to, I presume, and just get better.
Yeah, so I've not learned, or I've not been trained by Nathan. I couldn't. I think his seminar was just before I started going to PPW very regularly, and then Evo on the Tuesdays that I go, it's only Scotty that's taken sessions. I've had a session taken by Reese and Rogan at Evo once, and that's it. So it's mainly Scotty. So I've never met Nathan.
Well, hopefully, dude, one day, like I say, I just think same as with the Spud thing. You can just sit listen. Obviously, it's the same with Rampage. You've been in the same room with Rampage. You can just talk to the guy, and it makes you a better wrestler, kind of thing. It's that kind of. Some people have that about them, that aura, that wisdom. But yeah, I was gonna kind of again. Sorry, but I kind of jump around a lot. It depends what people are talking about. It's what I latch onto. We was talking about tag team wrestling before. I was going to jump back to it as well. Obviously, you mentioned the Evo thing, because I can't talk tag team wrestling and not mention Reese and Rogan. If you need any help or you need to pick anybody's brain, about what to do, about that one special move that I was talking about, you've got access to Reese and Rogan, mate. You've got access to one of the best teams in the country.
Definitely, yeah. Then the session that they took, another one that I just taken so much from. It was so good to see. I find it great that I've got the opportunity to be able to take loads of stuff from loads of different people and then implement it, like you said, in the way that suits me the best. So yeah, definitely great stuff to meet them and train under them, even if it is just for one session. So great, so great.
Dude, I was just think, like I say, this is all the things. Like, again, I'm going to rewind back to like, so you're just on the cusp, man. You've got all these kind of like, you're just picking the brains of all these people. You're putting it all together from, you know, the matches that I've seen. It's all clicking into place. It's all looking gravy. It's just, oh man, it's like this fucking close. You know, you're just a snowball waiting to get pushed off the side. It's just going to start rolling down, mate. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, so obviously there's that wrestling Newcastle. The Jim Smallman, obviously the PPW event as well. That must have been mind blowing as well, because obviously, you know, the dude's a talent scout. You know, he's again somebody else who works for, regardless of whether you like him or not, you know, the biggest wrestling company in the world.
Yeah,
to be in the room with that man is to be like, oh shit, he knows who I am now. He knows my name. How cool is that?
Yes, it was again. Same with the Spud. Same with the Spud one. Is such a cool experience to see his mindset on how he would look at certain characters and stuff. So we did for that. We had a 5-minute match and 1-minute promo, and just hearing his opinions and stuff on it and character wise and stuff was great.
Again, it just must have been one of those moments where you literally like, you know, if you've got mates outside of wrestling who know wrestling or appreciate it, you can literally be on the phone and be like, mate, guess who the fuck I talked to today? You know, guess who knows who I am now? You know what I mean? He's going back stateside. He's telling Triple H just how fucking awesome I am. Forget that Marshall Warner guy. He's talking about me. You know, it's like, but dude, it's just, yeah, I think it's awesome. It's like I said, it's just the opportunities, the people you get to meet. At PPW as well, you know, I always ask how weird it is for you guys to be involved, you know, like training there with the reels, you know, their social media, you know, their TikTok, their Instagram. You're talking like potentially at times millions of views, you know, millions of pairs of eyes on what you're doing. That's got to be surreal.
Yes, definitely. I've not done many reels because a lot of the time they're during the open ring sessions, which I can't make it to, mainly because they're on Tuesdays when I'm at Evo. But I've been in, I think I've been in 2. One which was like a different versions of the types of DDTs, which I took a brutal double underhook DDT from HMD, which then got posted as its own reel, which I think has got a good couple of views. Nathan may kill me because I don't know the exact view count, but yeah, a good couple I've seen.
Okay. You don't want to say how many because it's probably got up by another 1,000 since you last looked anyway. So why commit to a number? Just say it's got, you know, a decent amount of views. You know, it's fine. HMD as well. You just, you know, you say names that, I mean, I'm just like, what a guy, that guy's awesome. Oh, you know, you've got so many people around you that's just like, oh mate, it's just
that's definitely one of the biggest benefits I think for PPW. Like I was speaking to Liam one of the sessions, and I think in this session, like some big British indie names were there. I think Gene Money, Lycos too, and I was just speaking to Liam, and like in my head, it is unreal for me, in being in the same room as them, let alone training with them, and just seeing how. Well, I know how great they are, but then just seeing it in person is unreal for me.
And then obviously as well, you know, you've got the Leon Slater factor as well whenever he's in the house.
Yes, definitely. I think that's the biggest. That's going to be the biggest shock I've got. So Leon was there for the Spud seminar, and then it's his seminar it's Leon's seminar on Tuesday, which I'm going to. So that will be really cool.
Dude, it's just crazy when you've got all these things, at your, just at your thoughts. I can't even think of the expression. You've got all this stuff just within this hand's reach. You can just reach out, you can touch it. You've got all this knowledge. Again, I'm gonna repeat myself. It's just British wrestling at the minute is it's crazy, mate. It's amazing. There's so much stuff out there. There's so much talent, and it's great for you guys. People 3-4 years into the journey, you can just sit back and just get this wealth of knowledge from so many different people in so many different ways as well. So yeah, it's just I get excited when I think about it, and I think you guys have just got so much stuff out there just to look forward to.
Definitely. So I think it's, from what I see and from what I've seen, I think the British Indies is the best it's been at the moment, because you've got so many promotions that are just getting huge, that it's just great that you've got so many options to try and get on. So like you've got North, Rev Pro, ICW, Progress. They're just 4, 5, I think. I lose count, but yeah, like some really good promotions that you can try and get up to as like the top of British Indies, which is great.
That's the thing, though. And again, I think you'll probably, again, no besmirchment, but Future Shock are awesome. Their score's amazing. The Temple's amazing. But you take them out of the equation, you're left with the 3 that you've mentioned. Mate, yeah, you're just sat on top of a mountain, ready to go in any direction. I just think you've got the people around you that can help you. There's not much more you can ask for. And it's just, dude, I just think it's great. Like so I said, you mentioned Rev Pro. For me, that is again, I've got to be careful what I say, because I don't want it to sound like I'm slagging anybody off or putting anybody sort of down. But I don't think anyone can argue that they are kind of like they're the new pinnacle of British wrestling for me. Rev Pro, they've got that New Japan connection, the TV connection, stuff like that. I think that's where a lot of guys, a lot of people are sort of, that's the golden ticket. That's where they want to be one day.
Definitely, yes. I was at the I went to All In last year, and me and my mate went to the Copper Box Rev Pro show, and I saw that, and we were going back to the hotel, and I was saying to my mate, I was just like, that's the target, trying to get like WWE, AEW, huge promotion in America would be sick, but at the moment the target is Rev Pro, potentially Copper Box. Like that's where I want to try and get to at the moment, dude.
Right, well, we'll speak in 12 months' time, and I'll be like, they're the newest member of. There we go.
Here's to hoping.
Dude, man, I'm just a massive hype machine at the minute. I just love this shit. It's crazy. But dude, just clocked sort of the time. I said I'd keep you for about an hour. I've just been getting overly excited and hyping your brain up for the last 60 minutes. So I appreciate that, dude. But yeah, I won't keep you any longer. I don't think I can contain this enthusiasm much more. So, but dude, hopefully you've had a good time. We've had a good chat.
Yeah, definitely. I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Do you want to let people know where they can find you on Insta and Facebook?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Evan Knite _PW. And then on Facebook, it's just Evan Knite, spell how it is here, not normal night, KNITE. So yeah, that's where you can find me on Instagram and Facebook.
Sweet. Obviously, check out what, if you're not following Evan, please do so. We will tag him in our post as well. So just click on the name, hit follow, keep an eye out on future shows where he's going to be. Go to those shows. If they're nearby, buy a ticket, go support it, support your local promotion, buy some merch, that's the next thing, man. I need to see an Evan Knite t-shirt, a new Evan Knite t-shirt out and about for people to purchase.
Definitely. I'm looking at trying to get some of those made, some new ones made.
Well, you know, if you want to have a quick word with the FastCount guys, I'll vouch for you. And you know, if you're interested.
Well, actually, that's a point. FastCount, their Pride t-shirts.
Yes,
they are on sale. I think I'm a bit unsure of if all of the costs that gets made from the shirts are going to different Pride charities. I'm sorry, I can't name the charity off the top of my head, but if you go onto the FastCount clothing page, then you'll get all the information of where the money's going to, and it's all going to really good causes. So if you could pick a Pride t-shirt up, then that would be great.
It is for everyone. So yes, it is. It's a trans charity. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but all proceeds go to that one charity, I believe. I work the FastCount Twitter and Facebook, so I should know this off the top of my head. I've posted the link a few times. But yeah, you know, the link will be in here. The link to the website for FastCount will be in the description of this episode. So yeah, go check it out. Also buy that t-shirt. Buy Brandon Butcher t-shirt as well. You know, they're on there. You know, he's a good guy. Buy an Isaac North t-shirt while you're there. He might not scare you as much if you wear one of his t-shirts. But dude, thank you so much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved it. Hopefully I haven't got too overwhelming with the excitement, but you know, it's just mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
The same, man. Same. Thank you.
Not a problem. Everybody else, you know, do the generic stuff I always ask you to do. Hit like, subscribe, share, comment, hit us up, you know, speak to us on Twitter, speak to my boy Ash on Instagram. He loves to talk about wrestling, so you know, go keep him busy. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We have Supersonic. Actually, sorry, no, I stand corrected. We have Super Brat, Sammy Blue on the show later this week, and yeah, lots of other cool people coming up very soon. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.